Hi, I'm Kelly Morgan,
And I'm Brittany Jackson.
and today we're going to be teaching you about how to use different languages and what languages not to use.
Did you know that there are many different ways we communicate? Language is one of the ways we converse, communicate, and collect information. Words are symbols that represent objects, thoughts, values, feelings, and ideas. It is the foundation of communication. There are three components of language: obituary, ambiguous, and abstract. Obituary is symbols that represent larger things. An example would be a cat. Why does a cat have the name cat? Ambiguous is another component of language. This is concrete meanings. An example of ambiguous would be hot. It has three different meanings. It could mean the temperature hot, spicy, or an appealing person. The last component of characteristics would be abstract. Abstract is words are not concrete or tangible meanings. Now that I have told you the characteristics of language, I'm going to tell you about the two different approaches of language.
One approach that we use most is the single word approach. This approach consists of three categories. These categories include metaphor, simile, and ideograph. Metaphor is the broad term used to define comparisons that show how two things are alike in an important way. There are many metaphors. Some of these include dead metaphors, synecdoche metaphors, and metonym. An example of these would include son of a gun, I want to buy this, or do you take plastic? The next category is simile, a comparison between two objects retaining its unique differences. An example would be the snow was as white as the lamb's fleece. The last category is ideograph. This is a phrase or term that can push people to action. The next approach is word cluster approaches. Two categories are arguments from the past and myths.
Arguments from the past employ stories and explanations to convey meanings. The next category is myth, which is a rhetorical construction that tries to explain natural events.
Structuring language within a speech can also help enhance both your ability, meaning, and audience meaning. There are 4 basic strategies to help your audience follow along: repetition, alliteration, parallelism, and antithesis. Repetition is repeating main words or phrases in the speech. An example would be McDonald's food is very greasy and unhealthy for you. Not healthy at all. Alliteration is the repetition of the letter at a beginning of the word. The Big Blue Books will help you. Big Blue Books would be alliteration because they all begin with the letter B. Similar structured words and phrases are called parallelism. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech would be an example of this. The last one is antithesis. This is two ideas that sharply contrast with each other. One famous quote that is an antithesis would be, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
These are some guidelines for using language. Use language you know and are comfortable with. Eliminate wordiness. Know when to use a thesaurus and when not to. Use active rather than passive voice whenever possible. And use I, me, or we language.